out for. But you're going to highlight for us today a few that are especially common. So we're going to start with the first one, which is the dishonest manipulator. What is that?
Yeah, I had fun naming these because I had hundreds of pieces of data, and I have the 8 personas. The dishonest manipulator constantly lies, so you walk on eggshells because you can't trust them, and they lie to make themselves look better, and they'll also throw you under the bus, and they'll take credit for your work.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so another toxic boss persona you commonly see is what you refer to as the gaslighter. So what does that look like in practice?
Gaslighters make you doubt your memory. They make you doubt your abilities and your competence, and they question you, and you start to think, well, maybe I'm slow, maybe I'm not what I used to be, maybe I can't do this job, but it's not true. It's gaslighting. It's meant to erode your confidence and well-being, and it's terrible. And there's a lot of parallels between a toxic boss and an abusive relationship.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's the honeymoon phase, there's the financial dependency that's at play sometimes, lots of parallels.
Okay, interesting.
You also write in your book that it is really crucial for anybody who might be in one of these situations to document the behaviors and the incidences that they're experiencing with this toxic boss. So what exactly should we be looking out for? And then exactly what does that mean, documentation? What does that look like in practice?
Documentation means either writing it down or typing it in your own device, never on a work computer.
And never using Meta glasses probably.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Good one. It means documenting it for 2 reasons. One is you realize how regularly it's happening, and you note the date, who was there, how it made you feel, and you collect these over time, and you see a pattern. Then, if you want to report it or go legal one day, you have the records.
Aha, yes.
Okay, so can you say that we can't change toxic bosses. So a wise person would be to create an exit plan. You talk about setting a good riddance date. So how do we know how urgent it is for us to get out versus like kind of just sticking with it for a bit longer in the hopes that things might change?
Well, a lot of people feel trapped as if they're in a cage. That's why I have a bird cage on the front of my book, because you're often stuck. But a good riddance date is giving yourself the power to say, I'm going to get back into the driver's seat of my own career. And I say 3 to 6 months typically. Depends really on the person, but not so far out that you're going to suffer unnecessarily, because it kills your health. But not too soon, because you need to make sure you're putting in the time to find something better. And it could be another job internally, or it could be another job outside in a different company.
So maybe, okay, I guess this question might be in the middle ground, which is you might not be, as you alluded to earlier, maybe you're not in a financial or professional position to leave at that moment. So you might say, okay, listen, I'm going to try to stick it out. So in that short term, sticking it out, maybe not too long, what should we be doing to survive in that instance?
Turning to support. So if you can talk to a therapist or a coach or a good friend or colleagues that you trust, because oftentimes a toxic boss will be hurting more than one person, and everyone's scared to open up. But if you can find people you trust in the organization and outside support, and then keep filling your cup, take care of your well-being, because they're going to drain your cup every single day.
So why does it seem, I think a lot of people would say that it seems like toxic bosses seem to get ahead so often. And do you think, one of them's running the country just south of us. To a certain extent, do you think that toxic leadership actually enables success?
Some of the traits. So we see narcissism, and the narcissist is one of the personas, of course, and a lot of toxic bosses are narcissists. They tend to be charming, they're smart, and they're confident. And they have the Babel effect. Another organizational psychologist, Adam Grant, talks about the Babel effect. They talk a lot, and then people think, well, they talk a lot at the table, they must be the smartest.
Right.
And I have news, it's active listeners who are just as smart, if not smarter.
There's that. I want to talk about gender. In your research, have you found a gendered component as to who makes the worst toxic bosses, or males, females? What's your finding?
That's a great question. So we've interviewed toxic boss survivors from throughout North America. There wasn't much research in North America on this. And then we've done surveys. More women come forward than men who are willing to do our surveys and interview. It doesn't necessarily mean it's more women, but a woman is just as likely to be a toxic boss as a man.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah, but there's fewer women in leadership roles, so hence there'll be more toxic bosses who are men. But yeah, it doesn't discriminate based on gender.
Okay, if we want to avoid working for a toxic boss in the future, what are some red flags that we should look out for before committing?
How they treat you in the hiring process. So do they respect your time? Do they talk the whole time during your interview? So you can barely get a word in. It's all about themselves and how great they are and how great the team is. So be careful of that. Be careful of really flowery language like, this is a family, this is the best place on the planet to work. That sort of grandiose talk, just beware, because no workplace is perfect.
This is a fascinating conversation, Laura. Thank you so much for this. Fascinating. Okay, this is what the book looks like. There's the cage. There's the cage. It is called I Wish I'd Quit Sooner. It is available everywhere now, but studio audience members, you're going home with your copy today. So cool.